This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
And welcome to the GSMC Sports Podcast. This episode is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. And as always, I am your host, Jesse Tapia. Taking a few days off these last couple of weeks. Some personal things come up, but nonetheless, I'm back and I won't be gone anytime soon. All right. Like I said, I'm back and got some good news. The show is now going to be an everyday show. So instead of Tuesday through Friday, I will be here Monday through Friday talking to you guys about whatever else is going on in the world of sports. All right. Very excited to start doing the show every day from now on. So it's going to be fun. But nonetheless, the show's not really going to change. It's another day where we get to talk sports. All right. So here's what we got going on for today. Rockets, Warriors, Game 3 yesterday, Sunday. I got some thoughts. All right. I got a lot of thoughts on that. We're going to spend the first segment talking about it. Okay. Second segment, Vegas Golden Knights, NHL expansion team in their first year, heading to the Stanley Cup Final. We're going to talk about their little run and talk about pretty much them compared to Leicester City when they won the title a few years ago, okay? Because that kind of seems to be the thing now where whose story is bigger. So we'll be talking about that. I'll give my thoughts on it. And maybe we'll probably talk a little bit about Tampa Bay and the Washington Capitals series. I think Game 6 is going on tonight. I'll definitely be checking that one out. I mean, the Capitals, went up 2-0. I'm thinking, you know what? They got it. This is finally it for the Capitals. And they never cease to amaze with the way that they just give it up, I guess. So we're going to be talking about all that in the second segment. Third segment, we had Boston and Cleveland playing in Game 3. That was a blowout. All right, Cleveland played about as well as you could. Boston played about as poorly as you could. I'm going to give my thoughts on that. And it's kind of funny. I mean, if you look at the Western Conference Finals, Warriors are up 2-1. Eastern Conference Finals, Celtics are up 2-1. There's a big difference, all right? The Celtics up 2-1. Series is still up for grabs. Warriors up 2-1, I feel, and that against the Rockets, I feel like this series is pretty much over, okay? I got the Warriors winning in 5. It's pretty much went the way I thought, with them splitting the first 2 in Houston, and then Golden State pretty much just blowing them out in Game 3. Warriors win Game 4. Boom. Game 5, they close out, okay? So we'll see if it ends up happening like that. But nonetheless, like I said, there's just like a different energy between the two series, okay? Eastern Conference Finals, you just kind of wait and see what LeBron's going to do. And it's just honestly kind of amazing the fact that people will pick the Cavs just because of one player. All right. I don't know. It's just crazy to me. But nonetheless, I mean, the way he affects the game is ridiculous. So we're going to be talking about that for the third segment. Like I said, some NHL talk, some Leicester City talk in the second segment. And then for the fourth segment, going to be talking about whatever else is going on in the world of sports. It seems like Tom Brady not being present at OTAs has become a story. Not a big story, but nonetheless, it's a story. It's out there. I've seen it from multiple media outlets. I'll give my thoughts on it. All right. I mean, there's no reason to freak out or anything like that because of the fact that, I mean, it's OTAs and it's Tom Brady. The dude's what, 41? It's not a big deal. But nonetheless, we'll talk about that and anything else going on in the world of sports, like I said. So let's get into it. Let's talk Game 3 between the Rockets and Warriors. So, as I said, first game in Oracle of the series, and the Warriors just blew the Rockets out of the water. I mean, it wasn't close. It was honestly kind of ridiculous just watching the Rockets' effort in this one, I feel. All right, the Warriors won this one 126-85 for the Rockets. You had Trevor Ariza, who played 36 minutes, which was the most out of anyone on the team. He had 6 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 2 of 6, was a minus 23, which was third team worst, I guess, yeah. PJ Tucker, 2 of 5 from the field, 2 of 3 from the three-point line, had 6 points, 6 rebounds. I mean, not great. Clint Capella had 13 points, 8 rebounds, shot 6 of 9. The Warriors have done a good job, too. I mean, Clint Capella was playing about as well as you could in the first 2 rounds, but it seems now against the Warriors, they've just kind of shut him down a bit, or at least limited him. Chris Paul had a poor game here, 13 points, 10 rebounds, only 4 assists, shot 5 of 16, 2 of 8 from the three-point line. James Harden had 20 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 7 of 16, 2 of 6 from the three-point line. I mean, that's not great. It's not good enough, okay? 7 of 16, it's a little less than 50%, but nonetheless, I mean, 20 points isn't going to cut it there. All right. Ryan Anderson off the bench only played 5 minutes, didn't do anything. Luka Mbamute, who really hasn't looked good at all in this series. I mean, he played 15 minutes. He played 15 minutes and was a minus 28 out there. All right, shot 1 of 2, had 3 points. Eric Gordon couldn't shoot the ball to save his life in this one, had 11 points, shot 4 of 13, 2 of 8 from the three-point line, was a minus 33, which was a team worst. All right, Gerald Green played 20 minutes, same with him, couldn't get anything going, was 3 of 10 from the field, 2 of 6 from the three-point line, had 9 points there. And then for the Warriors, where it looked a little bit nicer on the stat sheet. All right, Draymond Green had 10 points, 17 rebounds, 6 assists, shot 3 of 9. And if you look at it, I mean, Clint Capella only had 8 rebounds. Draymond Green is a good 4 inches shorter than him, I'm assuming. And he's out here getting 17 rebounds. It's an effort thing right there with the rebounds, and it's just Draymond Green is, without a doubt, giving the most effort in this series. All right. Like I said, yeah, he had 10 points, 17 rebounds, 6 assists, was a plus 26. Andre Iguodala had 10 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, also had 3 steals, shot 4 of 6. Let's see, Kevin Durant, 25 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, shot 9 of 19, 3 of 8 from the three-point line. Those are decent stats right there. Steph Curry started off kind of slow, started off kind of cold, but nonetheless, I mean, he picked it up in that second half, and literally, it's one of those where it kind of brought you back to that year where the Warriors went 73-9 and Steph had that incredible season, okay? Or was that the year before? But nonetheless, going back to that year where Steph pretty much shattered the three-point record in this regular season and all that, pretty much couldn't miss. That was Steph in the second half in this game. It was just honestly ridiculous. Like, you couldn't stop him, all right? It was to the point where you're just, like, stuck watching the TV because you don't want to miss anything that he's doing. All right, he finished with 35 points, 6 rebounds, shot 13 of 23, 5 of 12 from the three-point line. And honestly, like the 13 of 23 from the field, 5 of 12 from the three-point line does not do it justice at all what he did in that game. It was just pretty much like the guy was on fire. All right, Klay Thompson, he had 13 points, 3 assists, 2 blocks, shot 6 of 14, 1 of 3 from the three-point line. Klay Thompson is going to get himself a nice little payday. It's obviously not going to be what he could get with a different team in the NBA, but nonetheless, I mean, the fact that you can be the third option there, I mean, you're going to go off for your bid games from time to time, and plus you're still making that China money because he does have a shoe deal with a Chinese company where he's making all kinds of money there. I mean, Klay's got to be living life. And then off the bench, you had Quinn Cook, who played 5 minutes, very efficient 5 minutes, 4 of 4 from the field, 2 of 2 from the three-point line, finished with 11 points, was a plus 12. Also brought in 2 steals. Sean Livingston had 9 points, 4 rebounds, shot 4 of 9 there. Also pretty much just crossed up James Harden. It was ridiculous. Did the little side-to-side dribble around the back, drive into the lane, and dunk it. I mean, he had James Harden on skates right there. Like I said, he finished with 9 points, 4 rebounds. Nick Young played 18 minutes, had 5 points, shot 1 of 3 from the field, was a plus 20. And then you got guys like Kevin Looney or whatever, 4 points, 5 rebounds, shot 2 of 3. But he's more of like a defensive type player when he comes in. He's not out there for the points or anything like that. And you had JaVale McGee, played 3 minutes, hit 2 shots. One of them was a fadeaway mid-range jumper. All right, JaVale McGee's doing that. Chances are your team doesn't really got much of a chance. But nonetheless, like I said, the game ended 126-85. All right, so I watched this game, and it was just a matter of it was never close. Okay, and it was a matter of, like, you're watching the Rockets. I didn't see enough effort. Okay, I'm not going to go out and say they quit or anything like that, but it wasn't pretty at all. It wasn't good basketball. James Harden wasn't really on the floor. I mean, he was off the court, and I get that they were losing by like 20 plus or whatever, so maybe it was just D'Antoni just saying, you know what, we give up. But he was out of the game for a lot of, like, late into the third quarter, a little bit early into the fourth, and it's just a matter of, I mean, I get that you're down big and whatnot, but you got to have your best players out on the court in the playoffs, don't you? All right, and it's just a matter of with this Rockets team, I mean, the reason why I picked the Warriors to win in 5 games was basically what we've been seeing. Rockets only got one way of playing, okay? The fast-paced back and forth, hit a 3, shoot a 3, get to the line. That's not going to work against the Warriors. Okay, and we're seeing that right here. I get that the Rockets blew them out in Game 2, but that game didn't really matter. All right? If you're a home team, if you got home court in a playoff series, you're supposed to win at home. Okay, that's what the home court advantage is. Okay, but the fact of the matter is they're not taking Game 4. I feel so confident in saying that right there too, okay? And usually I could be wrong about things, but as far as Rockets-Warriors Game 4, I mean, I don't see how... I'm not really sure what the Rockets can do here, okay? Like, if you have any suggestions, let me know, but I'm not really sure what more they can do to knock off a team like these Warriors, okay? I mean, fact of the matter is, you could take Kevin Durant off this team, and I'd still pick the Warriors in this series, all right? And I'm not really trying to bash Houston or anything, but it's just a matter of, I mean, you got James Harden putting up 20 points, Chris Paul putting up 13. I mean, that's not a recipe for success, okay? And how often are the Rockets going to be able to go point for point with the Warriors? All right? They lost by 41. The number 1 seed lost by 41. All right? That doesn't sound too good at all. I mean, if you're the 1 seed and you're losing to a team, a lower seed, and I understand there's context because obviously this Warriors team in reality shouldn't be the 2 seed or whatnot, but the fact of the matter is you're the 1 seed, you're supposed to be pretty good. Okay, you shouldn't be getting blown out by 41 in the Western Conference Finals. All right, and I'm not sure really what the Rockets, like what else they can do, because it's a matter of ISO and 3-point shots is their game. They have no one who, well, they do, like they don't run an offense. Okay, they don't run it's weird. You put Russell Westbrook on this team, he'd thrive. Okay, because it's pretty much just street ball out there for the Rockets. They kind of remind me of Arizona, all right, college team. Arizona, it seemed, pretty much just didn't have a plan in that NCAA tournament, and that's why they got bounced round 1. I know we're going way back to March, but nonetheless, I mean, that's what it reminds me of. So as far as the Rockets go, I'm not really sure what else they can do, what they could switch up, because I don't think they have the team capable to switch up anything. All right? Warriors losing Game 2, that was just a bad game. I don't really see them having another bad game like that, especially with Steph Curry maybe starting to heat up a bit. Okay, and can we stop the whole when Steph Curry has a bad game, maybe he's injured? No, if Steph Curry has a bad game, he just has a bad game. Okay, let's not make excuses for the guy. All right? But nonetheless, I mean, it's not looking good for Houston here. And like I said, Warriors being up 2-1 on Houston compared to Celtics being up 2-1 on Cleveland, a completely different story. It's not even close. All right? So let's see what ends up happening for Game 4, which should be on Tuesday. But nonetheless, I mean, like I said, I'm not sure what adjustments the Rockets can make. Okay, it's not gonna, like, a lineup change isn't gonna do it. Putting Eric Gordon, Gerald Green, whoever into the starting 5 isn't gonna do it. All right, you're gonna have to figure out a way to stop KD, and someone's got to figure out how to lock down Steph Curry. All right, and that's kind of been like the biggest question over the years is how do you stop Steph? All right, if anything, maybe you full court press him, or maybe you press him as soon as he crosses over into their side of the court. I'm not sure, but it's just not looking good for Houston here. So we're going to wrap it up. Like I said, next up, we're going to be talking about Vegas heading to the Stanley Cup Final, talk about their story, going to give my thoughts on it, talk about them compared to the Leicester City team, and this, like, pretty much which story is bigger, and also probably talk a bit about the Capitals and the Tampa Bay Lightning series. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. Like I said earlier, this will be an everyday show now, not so much just Tuesday through Friday, but it will now be Monday through Friday, so make sure you're ready for that. All right, And for the first segment, we talked Warriors Rockets. We're going to take a little break from basketball, head over to the NHL, and also talk a little bit of soccer, kind of throwback, I guess, talking about Vegas, and also talking about Leicester City, because there seems to be this little comparison between the two, obviously, because of the fact that, Vegas Golden Knights, in their first season, into the Stanley Cup Final, and honestly, probably played the best hockey out of everyone all season long. It's been ridiculous how good they've been, especially being an expansion team. All right, but nonetheless, like I said, they ended up winning their series against Winnipeg in the Western Conference Finals 4-1. All right, and Winnipeg isn't like a pushover or anything like that. Okay, you could argue that they had the best forward lines in all the NHL, and pretty much Vegas just wiped them to the side. Okay, and I don't think people we're talking about Vegas. I don't know. I feel like we're talking about it, but we don't realize how crazy this is. Okay. Let's not say their name. Let's not say Vegas Golden Knights. Let's say the expansion team, okay? The expansion team, in their first season, in the Western Conference Finals, made light work of the Winnipeg Jets, okay? And when I say light work, I mean light work. All right? Winning 4-1, most teams in the NHL who have been around don't even do that. All right? The fact that you go out and win 4-1, a gentleman's sweep, means that you are a great team. Okay? And with Vegas, it's been a matter of, it's like I picked the Sharks in round 2, and I picked the Kings in round 1. All right? I can't remember my pick for their series against Winnipeg. I probably picked Winnipeg too. Okay? What we're seeing as far as an expansion team being this good, I believe has never been done. Okay? And as far as is an expansion team going to the Stanley Cup Final and possibly going out and winning it good for the NHL, I'd say yes. Okay? I've seen some hot takes where it may be bad, but nonetheless, I do think that it's a good story. Okay? This sells tickets. All right? This brings in more casual fans, I feel. Okay? And it shows that, Vegas can be a good sports city, I feel. Because there's fans out there. They go crazy. They sell out. All right? And, leave it to the Vegas Golden Knights. Poor Oakland Raiders, once they get there, Vegas might already have a championship. Okay? This city might fall in love with the NHL team before the NFL team gets there. All right? It's just been one of those things where it's like, we've never seen this before. And as far as them compared to Leicester City, as far as being like the greatest sports story of all time, because Leicester City winning the not the Champions League, the EPL, English Premier League, for me is the greatest sports story of all time. Okay, people like to say the Miracle on Ice, or let's see, what are other great stories? The Music City Miracle, all that stuff. Like Leicester City winning the Premier League trumps all that. Okay, and as far as Leicester, that was their season in 2015-2016 season. The significance of Leicester City, all right, I'm going to go over it because I feel like soccer isn't really as big as it is outside the U.S. and here, okay? And I don't think people really truly realize, how big Leicester winning the Premier League was in this country, all right? And that's not a knock. NFL, NBA trumps all, okay? It does. But nonetheless, the way it goes in the Premier League, right? You got your Manchester Uniteds, your Manchester Cities, your Chelseas, Arsenals, all right? Teams with the big money, okay? Top clubs, prestigious clubs like the Liverpools and all that, all right? A team like Leicester City, who I believe was spending their second consecutive season in the Premier League, okay? Year before that, they make it in, they get promoted, and the next year they go out and win it is just really unthinkable. Okay, they didn't do it by, let's say maybe like Burnley. Okay, finishing 7th this year. Okay, Burnley has a chance to qualify to make it into the Europa League. They do that, they'll make a decent amount of money because they will be playing the Europa League. Okay, Leicester City didn't have that opportunity to go play in a tournament like that and make money for the next season. Okay, Leicester City was just a mid-table team or a team that almost got relegated. Okay, in their first season back up in the Premier League. The next season, they come out, and like I said, not spending money or anything like that, mainly because they can't. And they go out, and they compete with the Manchester Cities. They compete with the Manchester United. The teams who got money, the teams who can bring in guys like Paul Pogba. Obviously, he came in later, a few years later, back to the Premier League. But nonetheless, you get what I'm saying, okay? The teams who can go out and buy these top players, okay? You got pretty much, I want to say, a bunch of ragtag misfits on Leicester City, but they're not the quality. They don't have the quality, okay? They don't, like, the only guy really, the best player from that team was N'Golo Kante. He moved to Chelsea. Jamie Vardy, Mahrez, yes, they did have opportunities to go out and move, but they're still there. All right, and I saw Jamie Vardy. He's been linked to Atletico Madrid too. And, I mean, replacing Griezmann with Vardy, it's a bold move. But nonetheless, most of those guys still stayed there, okay? It's not like they did have a few players move out. I believe Drinkwater ended up going to Chelsea also. But nonetheless, I mean, you get the gist of it, okay? They're not guys who would really, besides Conte, cut it in the starting 11 of those top 6 teams. All right, they had 5,000 to 1 odds to win the Premier League this year. Okay, and I don't think people really realize how far off that is. If you got 5,000 to 1 odds to win anything, chances are you'll never win it. All right, but nonetheless, Leicester did it. They competed with the top teams with money, and they ended up finishing at the top. And I mean, fact of the matter is, we'll probably never see something like that again. It's always usually going to be Manchester United winning it, City winning it, Arsenal maybe one day coming back, and they hired their former manager, or their new manager too, and we'll talk about that probably later on in the 4th segment. All right, you got Liverpool, top teams. All right, it's going to be those teams usually always winning the Premier League. Okay, and then you got this ragtag team in Leicester City, who, I mean, was spending their 2nd consecutive season in the Premier League, coming out and winning it all. There's been nothing like it, okay? Vegas had the chance, and I'm not trying to discredit what Vegas has done, but they got the expansion draft, okay? Their choice at pretty much the players available, and still had the opportunity to go out and build a good team, all right? I like Marc-Andre Fleury, who lost his job to Murray in Pittsburgh, pretty much is like a reincarnation of his old self, okay? Marc-Andre Fleury in these playoffs has been ridiculous, honestly, with the saves he's made, all right? I paid close attention to that Sharks and Vegas series in round 2. Marc-Andre Fleury, I feel, and guys like William Karlsson and Marchessault, all right, but mainly Fleury, I feel, is one of the biggest reasons why Vegas ended up winning that series in 6 games. Okay, the saves this guy has been making in the playoffs has been ridiculous. He's been more so kind of like the team captain. They don't have like an official one or anything like that, but he's the guy who's been around. He's the guy who's won a cup before. All right, Fleury knows what it takes, and guys like that, having those guys like that in your locker room to pretty much help mature the guys around you is always going to help. But nonetheless, I mean, it's like, let's see, what's the most recent expansion team in any league we've had? I got to go back. Maybe the Texans, I guess. Maybe like it'd be like the Texans going back and winning the Super Bowl. Like OKC, I guess, in their first season. But, I mean, that wasn't really like a franchise from the ground up. They still had Kevin Durant on it. So I think it would be the Texans. Okay? It's like the Texans in the first year they came into the NFL going out and winning the Super Bowl. All right? Could you imagine how crazy that would be? And that's pretty much what we're seeing here. All right? This is one of those things where we really need to appreciate it before it's over. Because Vegas very well could go into the Stanley Cup Final and lose to Tampa Bay or Washington if Washington ends up making it out of that series in the Eastern Conference Finals. Okay? But nonetheless, I mean, Vegas has been quite the story, especially in the playoffs. And one of the reasons why I've been picking against Vegas so much in the playoffs is the whole experience factor. Okay? How many of those guys have made it to the Western Conference Final, Eastern Conference Final, Stanley Cup Final, besides Fleury? All right? I'm assuming not many. But nonetheless, they're beating the top teams. They beat a Kings team who pretty much in the last few years has won a couple of cups. They beat a Sharks team who was regularly in the playoffs and was in a Stanley Cup Final 2 years ago. Okay? And they beat a very solid Winnipeg team. Now, you get your choice at Ovechkin or Stamkos. All right? And it's going to be very interesting. And speaking of that series, I mean, Washington blew it. Honestly, I don't really got too much faith in Washington coming back. Just given the fact that we've seen this movie before. Okay? We really have. And it's a matter of maybe it's not meant to be. Possibly. Okay? Because if you're the Washington Capitals, I mean, you go up, all you got to do is take one game in Tampa Bay. They didn't. Okay, so you come back to Washington. Or actually, no. You take both. Yeah, better. I got the whole home ice mixed up. You take the first 2 games in Tampa Bay. Okay. Now you have your chance. You're going back home. You have your chance to at least get 1 game. You should. It's home ice. Okay. The home ice switches over to Washington now since they take both in Tampa Bay, and you can't get 1 game at home. I mean, Game 5 should have just been an easy pick for everyone. All right, Tampa Bay taking both games in Washington, coming back Game 5, back to Tampa Bay. Easy pick right there. All right, now we're back in Washington, but it's a matter of, you started out 2-0, you've lost 3 in a row. It's kind of like with the Raptors, okay, when they play LeBron. You play fine as much as you want before that, but they shrink. All right, they become mentally a little bit weak. All right, and I think that's what's happening with the Capitals right here. Capitals win Game 6. Obviously anything can happen in Game 7, but I just don't see the Capitals taking it tonight. Let's see, are they playing tonight, I believe, or is it going to be... Yeah, it's tonight. All right, I just don't see the Capitals getting Game 6, just given the fact that I think they're just mentally shook here. All right? It's going to take a lot. It's going to take some type of crazy motivational speech or whatever to get them back into it. Because the fact of the matter is you win 2 games on the road, and then you drop 3 in a row after that. That can be great. So we'll see what ends up happening. But as far as Vegas and Leicester City is the bigger story. Okay, and that really shouldn't be up for debate. I understand that Vegas is an expansion team. It's their first year. But the fact of the matter is, Leicester City simply didn't have the money to go out. They shouldn't have been able to compete the way that they did. All right, but nonetheless, they're both great stories. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up here. Next up, we're going to be talking Celtics Cavs from Saturday. And I'm just going to give my thoughts on that. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. So far today, we've talked Warriors-Rockets. I think that series is over in 5, and we talked Vegas-Golden Knights. Okay, and also talked a little bit about the Capitals, but nonetheless, that's how the first 2 segments have gone. All right, now we're going to throw it back to Saturday night. We're going to talk Celtics-Cavs, Game 3. All right, Boston took their first 2 games at home, as they should have. All right. And now going back to Game 3, it's a matter of what are the Cavs going to do? No one's been playing well besides LeBron, and even LeBron stunk it up in the first Game 1. All right, comes back Game 2, plays about as well as you can, drops a 40-point triple-double. Kevin Love plays well. They still lose by double digits. All right, so head into Game 3. It's a matter of, Celtics win Game 3. Series is probably over. But the Cavs handle business. They did what they were supposed to. They win 116-86. For the Celtics, you had Marcus Morris. All right, supposed LeBron stopper. Couldn't do anything against him. He finished the game with 9 points, 5 rebounds, shot 2 of 8. Al Horford, 7 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 2 of 4. That's the key right there, okay, if you're the Cavs. Not stopping Tatum, not stopping Rozier, not stopping Brown. It is stopping Al Horford. Go back to every Celtics loss so far in these playoffs, okay? And I'll tell you this. The one constant in every one of those games is going to be Al Horford played poorly. All right? That is the key to beating the Celtics. I know people like to bring up Al Horford's contract, okay? Boston media, call him Average Al. which I don't get. Boston media makes my head hurt sometimes, to be real. Okay? But nonetheless, Al Horford right now is the most important player on this Celtics team. He's the glue guy. He's the Draymond Green. Okay? You stop Al Horford, you have all the chance in the world to win. And you probably will come out on top. But seriously, go look at every single one of the Celtics losses, and I guarantee you that Al Horford had a bad game in every single one. All right, so like I said, Al Horford only got 4 shots up in this one, only got to the line twice, finished with 7 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. Wasn't great. Jason Tatum had 18 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, shot 6 of 10. I mean, those aren't bad numbers. Actually, those are probably pretty decent numbers there. All right, but nonetheless, no threes hit in this one. Terry Rozier kind of, except for game 2, I mean, has been kind of quiet this series. All right, first 2 series, he was all the talk. All right, he was all the rage. Scary Terry. What's going to happen? Celtics going to bring back Kyrie. They're going to get rid of him so they can start Terry Rozier. How are the Celtics going to try and keep Terry Rozier and Marcus Smart on the same team and pay them? All right, now it's just a matter of where have you been, Terry Rozier, in this series? He finished with 13 points, 3 rebounds, shot 5 of 12, 1 of 4 from the three-point line. Jaylen Brown, I mean, about as poor as you could get here. Only played 21 minutes, went 3 of 8 from the field, 10 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Off the bench, you had Semi Ojeleye, 1 of 5 from the field, 2 points. Greg Monroe played 16 minutes, had 10 points, 5 rebounds, shot 4 of 5. Aaron Baines had 7 points, 6 rebounds, shot 3 of 7. And then you had Marcus Smart with the classic Marcus Smart shooting game. 2 of 9 from the field, 0 of 4 from the three-point line, had 7 points, 6 assists, was a minus 19 in 26 minutes. All right. For the Cavs, LeBron James, efficient night. 8 of 12 from the field, 3 of 3 from the three-point line, got to the line 10 times, hit 8 of those. Finished with 5 rebounds, 12 assists, and 27 points. Also brought in 2 steals, 2 blocks, and was a team best plus 31. Kevin Love wasn't great. Had 13 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 4 of 12, 1 of 4 from the three-point line. Tristan Thompson had 10 points, 7 rebounds, shot 3 of 5. George Hill stepped up in this one. He had 13 points, 2 assists, 3 rebounds, shot 4 of 11. J.R. Smith had 11 points, 5 rebounds, shot 3 of 8, 3 of 4 from the three-point line. Larry Nance finally had a decent game. All right, he went 4 of 4 from the field in 21 minutes, had 8 points, 6 rebounds, also had 3 assists and 3 steals. Jeff Green, 6 points, shot 2 of 4. You had Jordan Clarkson, who played 18 minutes off the bench, wasn't really great. He shot 3 of 11, 3 of 7 from the three-point line, finished with 9 points, nonetheless was a plus 6, which was the second best off the bench. And then you had Kyle Korver, who played 20 minutes, as efficient as you could get here. All right, 5 of 5 from the field, 4 of 4 from the three-point line, had 14 points, 2 rebounds there. No Rodney Hood in this one. And, I mean, I'm not really sure. Like, I don't want to bash Rodney Hood too much, okay? But I'm not really sure what took Tyronn Lue so long to sit him. All right, Rodney Hood is a decent player, but nonetheless has been pretty bad in the playoffs so far. All right, if anything, you could argue he's been the Cavs' least productive player. I don't want to say worst because nonetheless, this guy still is an NBA professional and he's there for a reason. All right, but yeah, least productive player as far as the minutes he was getting, I could agree with. I could say that's probably a fact. All right, so like I said, Cavs won this one, 116-286. And honestly, I love it. Okay, I love watching these series. LeBron James, best player in the series. All right, the stories are about him. Celtics go up 2-0. Oh, Cavs are finished. What are the Cavs going to do? Is LeBron going to be able to pull it off? Everyone thinks the Cavs are done. All right. Game 3 in Cleveland. The first game back in Cleveland. Cleveland wins that one. It's now, Celtics are cooked. They have no chance. It is ridiculous how the narrative just changes, how it just shifts. It's honestly something where it's a phenomenon. All right? Like, it just goes from one side of the spectrum to the other. And it is hilarious to see. All right? One of my favorite things to do is just look. All right? I'm serious. Go looking back to see what everyone was talking about after Game 2. Cavs blow out the Celtics in Game 3. Now you got Skip Bayless saying that the Cavs are the better team. Which is entirely false. Okay? If we're being real here. But nonetheless, you got the best player. You're going to have the best chance. Okay? But game 3 in the series doesn't really do anything for me. Like I said, after game 1, don't overreact. All right? Doesn't matter if the Celtics blow out the Cavs. After game 2, I figured, the series was swaying more in the Celtics' way. And then game 3, Cavs come out, win it. Now it's anyone's series. Okay? Game 4 is the one I think that means the most here so far. Okay? I think game 4 is going to show us what kind of series we're going to have. Celtics win game 4. I say the series is over in 5. Okay? My original pick was Celtics in 7, but Cavs go out and win game 4. Celtics are in a bit of trouble. I'm going to stick with my Celtics pick. All right? I'm not going to go against it or anything like that. But nonetheless, this game 4 is going to tell us pretty much all that we're going to need to know. All right? And I'm very excited to see what kind of adjustments Brad Stevens is going to make in this game. Okay? When I watch the Celtics, it's not more so watching the players. It's pretty much watching Brad Stevens. There's not too many coaches in this league that are great with the X's and O's. Okay? Guys like Popovich, Steve Kerr's great with them. Spoelstra's great. Like I said, Stevens, Quinn Snyder. All right, guys like that. Those are the X's and O's coats where sometimes you're going to watch and see what adjustments they're going to make. Okay? I would say with the Celtics, at least the Brad Stevens-led Celtics, game doesn't start till the third quarter. It's ridiculous how many times I've watched that team and seen them come back from double digits. Okay? But I mean, with this game 3 for the Cavs, I mean, it's pretty much Cavs are in the driver's seat. You figured, Celtics aren't coming back in this one. All right, and I think there was a little bit of overconfidence with this Celtics team. And that kind of scares me a bit with them because the fact of the matter is, I mean, you're a young team, and maybe that's where it comes from. These are all a lot of young players. I mean, I think the oldest guy on this team has got to be probably Marcus Morris. All right, maybe Horford. Yeah, probably Horford, actually. Yeah, so it's got to be Horford. Yeah, so Horford's the oldest player. But other than that, all these guys are all young players. Jason Tatum's a rookie. Terry Rozier, I think, is in his third year. Jaylen Brown's in his second. Okay, the guys off the bench. Semi Ojeleye is a rookie. Abdel Nader, I think, is a rookie in his second year. Yabusele finally came over from overseas. This is his rookie year in the NBA. Brigham Rowe's been around for a while. Bane's been around for a few years. Marcus Smart, I think this is his fourth year. And then you got Shane Larkin, who's been out. But nonetheless, I mean, he just came back from Spain. Okay. So the fact of the matter is, I mean, Terry Rozier said it. All right, we were overconfident. That's one thing that you can't have if you're the Celtics. You can't be going up against LeBron James thinking, oh yeah, we've got this. That is probably the worst thing you could probably do. All right. But like I said, I mean, the series hasn't really moved the needle for me yet. Game 4 is what's going to pretty much tell me what I need to know, I guess. Okay, even if the Celtics lose Game 4. Okay, if they get blown out, then yeah, there's a problem, I think. All right, because I think that might be a little confidence shock to them because of the fact that they're all a bunch of young guys. All right, there's only 4 guys from last year's team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals. Okay, Horford, Brown, Rozier, and Smart. Everyone else is all new. So it's going to be very interesting to see, like I said, what Brad Stevens does. Is he going to make any changes to the lineup? I don't really see it happening. I mean, round 1 against the Bucks, the lineup change was Semi Ojeleye. Putting him on Giannis, it worked. Okay, game 2, lineup change was putting in Aaron Baines, I believe. It helped. Not game 2, round 2, and then round 3, right here, the Eastern Conference Finals, I guess putting Morris in was the lineup change. Okay? Maybe you take Morris out of the starting 5, throw him in off the bench, and see what he can do there. All right, if I'm the Celtics, I look into the idea of starting Marcus Smart instead of Marcus Morris. Okay? Marcus Smart can literally guard positions 1 through 5. All right. Maybe you throw a guy like Jaylen Brown on. Let's see. Let's go starting 5 versus starting 5 right here. So let's say I go with a starting 5 of Terry Rozier, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart, Al Horford. All right. You'd be going up against J.R. Smith, George Hill, Tristan Thompson, Kevin Love, LeBron James. If I'm the Celtics, you match up Brown on James. Okay. Tatum on. Let's put Tatum on JR, Rozier on Hill. I'd put Smart on Kevin Love, and then have Thompson and Horford go at it. Okay, and obviously you're going to have your switches and all that. That's what I would do if I was the Celtics, but we have to wait and see, okay? But as far as the Cavs go, I mean, there's blood in the water. They smell blood in the water. They get game 4, They're the team who's been around. This is the team with the veterans, okay? LeBron knows what it takes to get to the finals. So, Game 4 is going to tell us a lot, but I'm not really sure who I got. I'm going to go with the Celtics tonight. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Celtics tonight. All right, I really think that Brad Stevens has something up his sleeve as far as an adjustment. And, I mean, the Cavs played about as well as you could in that game. Nearly 50% from the field, 50% from three. So we're going to see if they're able to replicate that, okay? I think it's going to come back to earth, and Game 4 is going to be a lot closer. It could go the Cavs' way very well, too. I would not be surprised if they end up taking Game 4. All right. Celtics really haven't been a good road team this playoffs either. I think they're, 1-5, I believe, in the on the road so far in the playoffs. 9-0 at home. They always say, first team to win a road game, their series doesn't start till the road team wins the game. All right. So far, hasn't happened, so we'll see. But anyways, we're going to wrap it up here. Next up, we're going to be talking about anything else going on in the world of sports. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's gsmcpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
Alright, and welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. So far today, we've talked Rockets Warriors, we've talked Celtics Cavs, and we've talked Vegas Golden Knights, comparing them to Leicester City. Alright, been a fun show. Like I said, we'll be here Monday through Friday from now on, so look forward to that. But nonetheless, it's the fourth segment. What do we do for the fourth segment? We talk about anything else going on in the world of sports. Alright, I pointed at it in the second segment, but let me make my pick for tonight's Game 6 between Tampa Bay and Washington. I got Tampa Bay. I'd be very surprised if Washington ended up pulling it out. They are the Toronto Raptors of the NHL. Okay. Pretty much shrink when it matters most. All right. Granted, they didn't get swept like Toronto did against the Cavs in round 2, but nonetheless, I mean, it's just classic Washington here. Some things just never change. All right. They beat the Penguins, but nonetheless, you're up 2-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals. You end up going down 3-2. I don't really like your chances in Game 6. All right? So we'll see what ends up going on there. But nonetheless, there's something that's been brought up that I would like to talk about. Tom Brady. Where is Tom? Okay? It's OTAs. Why isn't he there? And, I mean, does it really mean anything? No. It doesn't. Okay? I feel like the media has become infatuated, I believe is the right word, with this whole Tom Brady, Bill Belichick saga. Okay? And I do think that there is something there as far as tension and all that. I do think that is a real thing. But, okay, I don't think that Tom Brady not being at OTAs matters. Why? What does Tom Brady need to be at OTAs for? Fact of the matter, why does Tom Brady even need to be at training camp? All right, guys like Brett Favre hated training camp. Brett Favre came back year after year, or retired year after year, just so he didn't have to go to training camp. That might just be what it was. Okay? Tom Brady's a 41-year-old quarterback who has won 5 Super Bowls and is regarded by most as the best quarterback of all time. Okay? Tom Brady being at OTAs, not a story. All right? As much as anyone wants to make it, if you're a fan of any AFC East team besides the Patriots, if you're a fan of the Steelers or whoever, if you just hate the Patriots, as much as you want it to be a story, it's not. okay? If you're a media outlet and you're talking about Tom Brady not being OTAs and what this means, let me tell you, it means nothing. All right? If Tom Brady's not going to be there week 1, then yeah, that's a story. But I really don't think that Tom Brady not being at OTAs matters. Okay? And like I said, I do believe that there is tension in Foxborough between Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, but I think they know what the end goal is here, and that's to go out and win a Super Bowl. Okay? Differences aside, they know what really matters here. All right? And that's why I don't really get into the whole Patriots saga type of thing. All right? I mean, we've had Deflategate, we've had Spygate, we've had all kinds of gates. Okay? We can call this one OTA gate. But nonetheless, it's a non-story. All right? It really is. And Tom Brady's probably got about 2 more years. Probably this year and next year, and I say he calls it quits after that. All right? And I think Tom Brady probably does want to go out a winner. And he doesn't have the opportunity to. I mean, fact of the matter is, Pats are still the best team in the AFC right now. Okay, as far as the NFL, I'd still say that that's the Super Bowl champs, Philadelphia Eagles. All right? And I think there's a couple of other teams better than the Patriots right now in the NFC. Rams might be one of them. All right? But as far as it all goes, I mean, Tom Brady not being at OTAs, it doesn't matter to me. Okay? I understand people might say, oh, well, he's at OTAs in the past. Why is this year different? I mean, it's just a matter of who cares? Okay? It's like this isn't going to affect him being there week 1, and I'm sure he's going to be there at training camp. All right? Let the guy go out on vacation, enjoy time with his family. Okay? I understand it's the quote-unquote Patriot way to be there at all times. But nonetheless, like I said, the guy's 41 years old. All right? Brett Favre unretired, just so he'd have to go to training camp. All right? So, I mean, as far as Brady not being there, it doesn't really matter to me. And maybe there could be something more to it. But it's just, problem here as far as making it a big story is Tom Brady knows what the end goal is, like I said earlier. Okay? That's going out, and that's winning another Super Bowl. Okay? Belichick and Brady can't have all the disagreements they want, but they will come to the same page on one thing, and that's winning. All right? So that's why this team hasn't really fallen apart. Because they all have the same goal, no matter their differences. All right? But there is one player who hasn't been at OTAs, and that's Julio Jones. I think Julio here is holding out for a new contract. All right? Let's look at those wide receiver contract numbers. All right, as far as guys in the NFL. Mike Evans, currently making $16.5 million per year. Just signed his deal this offseason. DeAndre Hopkins, making $16.2 million a year on average. All right. Got his deal last year. Jarvis Landry, making $15.1 million. Just signed his deal in the offseason. Okay. Julio Jones. Actually, Antonio Brown, he's making $17 million, which is the most per year. Rightfully so. All right. And then you got Julio Jones, who's actually making less than AJ Green, who's making $15 million. All right, let's see. Is there anyone else making more than Julio Jones? Sammy Watkins, which is just ridiculous to me. I don't understand why the Chiefs gave him that much money, and maybe it's just a matter of I haven't seen what everyone else sees him. Sammy Watkins. I think that might be it. So you got Sammy Watkins, AJ Green, Antonio Brown, Jarvis Landry, DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Evans, and am I missing anyone else? Julio's making 14.2. All right, so I believe that is 6 players. Okay. 6 wide receivers in the NFL are making more money than Julio Jones per year on average. Okay. Would I take Mike Evans over Julio Jones? No. Would I take DeAndre Hopkins over Julio Jones? No. Jarvis Landry? No. Antonio Brown? Yes. AJ Green? No. All right. DeAndre Hopkins, you could argue, might be better than Julio Jones, but nonetheless, all right. You get what I'm saying. Julio Jones signed his deal in 2015. Now it seems the market has gone up for wide receivers, obviously, because now you got guys like Jarvis Landry who have been slot receivers their entire career, and I have no problem with Jarvis Landry getting $15 million. All right, I think he's a very good receiver, if anything, a top 10 receiver in this league. All right, they're all making more than Julio, and I think that's why Julio is holding out right now. Julio Jones is currently 29. His contract is up in 2021, so he's got about, 3 more years till that's done. In 3 more years, Julio Jones will most likely be 32, depending on what year his birthday is, or he'll be 31. All right? Julio Jones probably, honestly, I mean, the contract that he's on right now might be the biggest contract that he'll get in his NFL career. And I think that might be why we're seeing him not show up to OTAs right now, because the fact of the matter is no one's going to want to give a 32-year-old receiver a big money extension. Okay? So I do understand Julio holding out, because the fact of the matter is, yeah, you do want a pay raise. Because when you're 32, wide receivers at that age go out of style. All right? They will replace you like that. The NFL doesn't care. Unless Julio Jones is producing at a high level at that point, I don't see it happening. All right? So I do get why he's holding out, and I do think that Julio Jones not being at OTAs is a way bigger story than Tom Brady not being at OTAs. All right, and maybe it's just the fact where Julio is fine with his contract, and he just wants a little bit more time off. That could very well be it. But we don't know that, so that's why we have to talk about it. Okay? And people might say, oh, you don't know why, like with the Patriots and stuff. No, but I have an idea. All right? And I think we pretty much have come to know the Patriots as a no-nonsense type team. Last year or so, I mean, that really hasn't been the case, but nonetheless, you get the point. All right? So as far as Julio Jones, I mean, I'm not sure if the Falcons give him an extension or a bigger deal. Okay? I mean, that's what he wants, but like I said, I'm not sure if I would do it. It's not like Julio could hold out or anything. He's still got years on his deal till 2021. All right? So he's just going to have to probably just accept it, unless the Falcons are a very generous organization. So we'll see. But nonetheless, that's all I got to say about that. We got 2 games going on tonight. We got Celtics Cavs, Tampa Bay versus Washington, Game 6. I got Celtics winning tonight, and I got Tampa Bay closing out their series tonight. I'm sure the NHL is hoping for a Vegas-Washington Capitals series, but I think we're going to get Tampa Bay-Vegas, so we'll see what ends up happening there. But we're going to wrap it up. Today we talked Warriors-Rockets, Celtics-Cavs, Vegas and Leicester City, and then for this segment talked about Julio Jones, Tom Brady, and I think that was pretty much it. So thanks for listening to the GSMC Sports Podcast. As always, I am your host, Jesse Tapia. Like I said, we'll be here Monday through Friday from now on, so get ready for that. We'll be back tomorrow, and I will talk to you later.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.